Yeah. Welcome to another Thursday night episode of Birds of a Feather. It's your boy OG Pete, Chucks, Jake, PY on the bottom. Get into a little Jalen Edge, DE versus Edge, Jalen Carter talk. And then we got some defensive rankings. It's a little bit different how we're bringing it to you tonight. So as we get that intro going, we're going to get ahead and jump into it. Let's go.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio, brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed bread, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Make sure you mention A2D Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and wherever you download your podcasts. So if you're listening to us right now live or on your commute, or on the way to Baggio's Bread, we greatly appreciate the support. It's your boys back again. Chucks, OG Pete, Jake, PY. What's good, fellas? How you feeling? We're 2 weeks away from the draft. Is that excitement level pumping? How's it feel?
That's all well and good. We 1 week away from 420. If you get it, read between the lines. Holla at
I dare you to come on the show next week for our mock draft.
I'm in AC for work next week, next Thursday at an all-day event. And there's my event, which obviously is clean cut. There's other events going on at the same time. So
That or not.
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I ain't gonna say it, but yeah, we've got a great show for everyone, for the peoples. We are going to conclude our positional rankings series tonight on the show by doing defense, punters, special teams. We've got the defensive positions, guys, and all four of us were assigned a different position, and we're going to give our rankings, and then the rest of us are going to give some feedback, some of our own take on how those rankings fall. And then in the second half of the show, after we do that, we are going to give a list of our guys, or my guys, for each of us at for this draft class, who are favorite prospects overall. Who do we label as our guys this year? So we'll give you that, and then of course, to end the show, we will bring you some no huddle and go rapid fire with random topics here and there in sports and entertainment and the like. But first half of the show, as always, it is brought to us by Alandi Travel. If you are, where can I find the read? There it is. The read's there. Alandi Travel, specializing in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Let the talented team of travel experts, including myself and A2D's own Andy Ritter, create a custom vacation for you. For those who know about it, they just announced the dates for the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot yesterday. It is going from July 27th to November 18th. If you don't know what Food and Wine Festival is, you need to find out. I'm telling you. I am telling you. So hit me up. I'm wearing this shirt today because I love Epcot, and Food and Wine is one of the best things you'll ever attend. So definitely hit me up if you're looking to make a trip. Our poll question to kick off the show, the first half: Jalen Carter should be the top draft target for the Eagles. Agree or disagree? So we're going to do this. The way I want to tackle this is I want us to go – I want PY, you're going to go first because you tackled the interior defensive line position, defensive tackles. So we're going to have you give your rankings, and then we'll talk about it, we'll give feedback, and then once we get to Jalen Carter, we'll answer the poll question. All right? So I'm going to bring up the ever popular
big board.
The big board. There it is. Blah, blah, blah. Da, 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 da. Okay. And I'm
Final
gonna
Fantasy, nice
gonna
touch.
hide this real quick. Alrighty.
Go the Mo.
So, PY, you were gonna be up first. You did, like I said, interior defensive lineman. How many did you do, sir?
I did 6 to make you happy.
Okay. Oh. All right. So let's dive into it. Who is your number 6? Who you got at 6?
Mazzy Smith.
Mozzie Smith. Okay.
Monty Smith.
I probably said it
Ozzy.
wrong. I'm gonna do
You
it all
did.
night.
You did. Okay. Number 5.
Will always love you. I'm sorry.
No, we will not.
I couldn't resist.
Pete will not.
No, I will never. 81 for life, baby.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Gervin Dexter.
Gervin Dexter. How do you spell his name? Do you remember?
I think it's GervonDexter.
Let me get this correct just for
Gervin
Frank's
Dexter.
I
sake.
can't spell for crap. So
Number 4.
Keanu Benson.
Benson.
Okay.
His is Keanu, right?
It's
Or is
Keaanu.
Keanu. Okay. Then Benson.
Yes.
Keanu Benson.
3.
Kalijah Cansey.
Kalijah. And then his is Kalijah.
Yeah.
Is that
Hold on.
I think it's with
hold
a
on.
C. Isn't
it's
it,
a C,
Jake?
right?
No, so I think it's a
It's a
I
C,
always-
yeah.
I always get them. It's a C. I always get them mixed up.
CALIJAH.
AH. Gotcha. I always get them mixed up. And then Cansey's. That's with the.
Is with K, correct.
Let's see. Always get them mixed up. I can't remember which is the letters. Okay, number 2.
Brian Brees.
Ooh, okay.
Hmm.
Not mad at it.
Yes. And then I think it's very obvious.
Yeah.
It's Jalen Carter.
In Qatar. All right. PY, can you give us a rundown starting with 6 and going in ascending order? Just give us rundowns of these prospects. Like, give us a skinny. What did you like about them? And so on and so forth.
Yeah, Mazzy, he's kind of like a wrecking machine. Like, he's ridiculously quick for his size. Like, he's 6'3", 320, so he's like very deceptive. Like, he's quick off his first burst. He's very good run stopper. There's a little bit of issue whether or not he can be a true time pass rusher and things like that, but the potential's there.
I actually had Mozzie Smith a little bit higher.
Where do you have him?
I have I didn't go in depth with interior defensive lineman because I haven't had the time yet. But roughly, Mozzie would be like at my 4
Okay.
right now. Yeah, he'd be at 4. I think like it's tough between 3 and 4, but he'd be in that range. I think I do like him a little bit more than you. But I agree with your overall assessment is, I agree with it, and I think that's why I like him more because I like that pass rush potential that he has. I like that upside. So, anyone else opinions on Mozzie Smith?
I didn't do any tape. It was not my responsibility. So.
I did. No. That's fine.
I did my homework on this.
That's fine.
I
just didn't know
really
if you had
tried.
if anyone did study it, like if you had any follow up, but like I said, I didn't study a lot of them either, so I don't have too much to add. All right, go ahead. You're number 5, Gervin Dexter.
He's just a student of the game. Like, literally, like every year he's played football since his like junior year of high school. He's gotten better like every single year. He's a big guy, just like a lot of these guys. That's what they are. Like, they're just huge monsters. He uses his size to his advantage. Like, he's able to collapse the pocket. He's great with one-on-one. He's a very smart guy. And I'm actually amazed at how fast he is. He's another big dude. Like, he's like 6'3", 300. Like,
Got it. You can. I didn't study Gervin.
it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't study. So I don't have any.
Yeah, like his moves are pretty simple, but they're effective. Like, and he's really, really good when he's on one-on-ones.
Oh, okay. So he can beat 1-on-1.
Yeah.
So
he has issues with he kind of plays a little too high at times, and then
Okay.
there's some technique issues with him. But
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So yeah, go ahead. Number 4.
so he's interesting. He is a former wrestler, so he uses a lot of those moves that he had when he wrestled to kind of like maneuver guys the way he wants them to, which I always find interesting.
Is he out here sweet chin music people? That is that?
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, no, he's hip tossing dudes. You know, he's wrestling them to the ground. Like it's kind of as a former wrestler, you don't really see a lot of wrestler football combos.
Right.
So I kind of find that interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would concur.
Yeah, like
that is very interesting. That is very interesting. I didn't know that about him.
He's very good at clogging up the lanes. He's like a snake. Like the way he slithers around dudes is kind of amazing. He's a big showboater. He loves the sack dances. If you get him in Philly and he sacks someone, you're gonna get like a really fun dance with him.
Just like Fletcher Cox. So
yes, and he's another big run stopper. He is knocking dudes on their ass in the middle of the field and behind the line of scrimmage.
Gotcha. Okay. I misspelled his name, by the way.
It's okay.
Yeah, my bad. I fixed that. It's two E's, apparently. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm double checking. Okay, go ahead. Number 3.
He's just a monster. Like he's a faster Jordan Davis when I look at him. Like the way he can get off of the first step is ridiculous. Like he's a walking, talking mismatch. Like he overpowers like the dudes he's going against. It's insane. Like having him and Davis like next to each other would just be like it's the Great Wall. Like he's explosive, he's flexible, he's able to maneuver around guys way faster and with more technique than a guy his size should.
Okay. You're talking about Cansey, right, Elijah?
I'm talking about Cansey.
Okay, so here's my thing with Cansey. He's him and your 2 and your 1. Obviously, I looked at a little bit further because Cansey, I think that name has been thrown around
it's
a
a
lot.
possibility with him.
The possibility of 30, right? So I want to look at him. Everything you said about his explosiveness is awesome. Like I do see it. Like he's explosive. He moves. His movement skills for interior defensive lineman they're exceptional. Just a great athlete at the position. However, he's small.
Yeah,
like he's freaking small, and I know that people want to comp him a lot to Aaron Donald at type in terms of play style, but I don't know, man. Like when you're that small and you're playing on the interior, I have serious questions about whether you'll be able to hold up against interior offensive linemen at the NFL level. And yeah, you're explosive, but when you're double teamed or you're up against someone who's twice as strong as the competition you face in college, it's a different story. Like you're not playing on the edge, you're playing on the interior. There's a threshold of play strength that you need. That's my worry. What's funny is that Cansey is my number 2 ranked interior defensive lineman.
Okay.
But I have a round 2 grade on him. So like there is a significant drop off for me at least from Jalen Carter, who is we can all agree, and we'll talk about him in a bit. But Jalen Carter, who's one of the 3 blue chip players in this draft, to my number 2, who is second round. So that issue of play strength is so significant that even though I like him more than anyone else because of that explosiveness, there's a risk that I'm not comfortable taking until I hit the second round. So
I would love him in round 2. That'd be amazing. I would cry.
Yeah. And that's why at 30, I would not take him. Like at 30, that's too high for me.
I mean, you're basically in round 2 at there.
No, but what I'm saying is at that point, like there are still other players at 30 that I'd prefer over Cansey. A lot of other players I prefer over Cansey. So, but then once you get into like the middle of the round 2, like and a lot of those players I have rated are gone, then I'd look at Cansey. But yeah, I have a round 2 grade on him. 30 is just too rich for my taste. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else has. I don't know if you guys look at Kansas either, because again, he's a name that keeps getting brought up.
Yeah.
Potential Eagles target. I don't know if you guys have looked at him either.
He's just so raw.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think he's where like Jalen Carter, Brian Breezy, I think are more on their way to their ceiling, I would say. Where Kansas is he's just a little further. I mean, he can get after the pass rusher. He can get at the quarterback very well. It's the other areas of the position, and then what technique can he play? Can he play in multiple fronts? If he goes to the right scheme, obviously the scheme is going to accentuate his talent, right? But what if he doesn't? What if a team that, sometimes it happens where teams will draft you that you didn't even visit. They've already felt confident enough with enough information on you to pull the necessary to say the trigger and draft you. You know what I mean? So just have to see. I mean, I can't really argue with PY's list, honestly. Maybe I flop Dexter and Benton I don't know, like that 4 through 6. Really, you can put them in any order. I think the top.
Yeah, I think a toss up, right? Yeah.
The top 3 is solidified.
Yeah. John Mammoth, as he gets into, as we get into the top 2 of PY's list, he says Breesy second and Carter first. Chris Glover also brought up that Gavin Dexter, he's a good player, just laid off the line.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me see if there's anyone regarding the interior defensive line. No, that's it. All right, so let's get in your top 2, PY. So, Breesy and Carter. Give us the skinny on Breesy.
So he's a really creative pass rusher. He's very quick. 4.86 at 300 pounds is kind of nuts. Like, obviously, like to other people, that's kind of slow. But for someone that big, you should not be able to get off the edge of that as quick as he does. Like, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he stays low to the ground, which means he's able to get to the quarterback a little bit more creatively and a little bit faster than most other guys. He is a tackle for loss machine, high motor, and quick burst. The issue with him is it's injuries. He's missed some games.
Yeah.
And that's like the big hit on him. Because if he played most of the games he was in, he's probably like looked at it as a top 10 pick.
That's fair. Yeah. So
Great story too.
How much does the injury factor in for you guys? Like, someone who's, because we had a similar situation right a couple years ago with Decker. Always learn. So, like, where is your comfortability level for you guys if you're looking at a Brian Breesy?
I think with me, and again, I'm going on based how I evaluate it. If you're a transcendent talent and like a generational type player,
just take
it. I think a lot of teams will just look past it. Now, I'm not saying Brian Breesy's going to be just a guy in the league. I think he's going to be really good, a potential Pro Bowl type guy. But I don't know. It depends. Like, is there because I don't know much about his injuries. Is there like a recurring injury? Is it a lot of soft tissue? Is a lot of like?
It's nothing like Dickerson's, because Dickerson missed. People forget he missed back-to-back seasons with in like a 4-year span. He had like 4 knee and ACL injuries.
Yeah,
going back to high school and college.
Yeah.
Like Breeze is like soft tissue stuff here and there.
Yeah, so
I would feel more comfortable taking him. I like my number 1 guy so much.
Yeah, playing devil's advocate though, I think soft tissue injuries are really tough because those are types of things that can linger on, especially hamstrings and other muscles and stuff like that. So again, it's not like I don't think it's a huge knock, but it's definitely something you have to obviously keep in mind because he's going to be in the medical tent a couple of times during his career.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. All right, guys. So we're getting into the number 1 ranked interior defensive lineman, Mr. Jalen Carter. Before you give your skinny on him, and we all get into it, I'm gonna pull up the poll question. Jalen Carter should be the top draft target for the Eagles. Agree or disagree? PY, we already know how much you like about him, so you go first, and then we'll go to Jake and then Pete. Yeah, agree or disagree to the poll?
Agree. I would give my soul. I would give my left and right testicle. I would give my heart, my spleen, both my ass cheeks. What do I need to do to get Jalen Carter at 10? That's what I need to know.
Oh my god.
Do I need to go to the crossroads, put a box in the ground, and just wait for the devil to come out? I just need to know.
Oh my god.
Like, he's that guy. He is that dude. Oh my, like, he can do it all. Like, it's a one-on-one matchup. He's gonna own you. You're gonna double team him. He's gonna own you. Are you a running back? He's gonna eat you alive. Oh, screen in the slant. He's got you. Like, you're trying to get creative. He's got you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think you're gonna run around him? He's got you. Like, he's gonna hit you like a freaking sledgehammer. Okay, he's a beast. He's quick. He's deceptive. He's creative. He's smart. Off the field stuff, obviously, he's a little dum-dum at time to time. But, Jordan Davis, they're like this. And, supposedly Jordan kept him on his best behavior.
I don't know how much I believe that, though, because
I like to lie to myself.
I was listening to Marcus from Pro Fan Talk, and you guys can check him out before us every Thursday at 7. Mm-hmm. But it's just it's that time of year, too, with the draft. Like, where do they get these stories from? Because I feel like it's like, I'm not saying Adam Schefter pulled something out of his ass, but it's just like, where do these guys get this information from?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, unless you said you had a source or something like that, but it's like.
Yeah, but Schefter would never tell anyone he had a source, even if he has one.
No, but
it is very interesting. Like I
it's just weird.
I don't know where these reporters get their sources, but they do have sources. Like
100%.
Yeah, some of them are more reliable. It's crazy. Like tangent. I'm sorry, it's a tangent, but like if you listen to some of the I don't know if you remember a few years ago when it was still Lefko and Sims report. They were doing an interview with, I forget where, he was a former NFL insider reporter, and now he's an agent. And he gave like the whole breakdown and whole like behind the scenes thing of what that world is like. So
it's not jarring my memory. If you had a name.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but like it's so crazy, that world of like how insiders and the reporters do their business. It's connections, and there are two different types of them. There's the insider that has connections with the organizations and the teams, and there's reporters that have connections with players.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which one would you rather have?
Players. I'd rather have instead of players.
I would say the players as well.
Players are more honest.
Yeah. I mean, like Justina
organizations
Anderson,
will lie to you.
Yeah, Justina Anderson is another. I know, like we've had our issues with Justina, but she's a very, very notorious player insider reporter. So
make a rhyme. She's not.
But yeah, like it really is interesting to hear the different reports, so that like we don't know what is being put out there. So I don't know with Jalen Carter. Like it's with Jalen Carter, I know that so Vespe's gonna pull questions. Some comments. Vespe says, hello friends. I disagree with the poll based on the fact that I think he's off the board by the time he was on the clock. Also, I'm so concerned about some of the issues he has. There was another comment.
Okay, we're trading up to 6 to get him. It's all good.
Philly Sports with Big says Jalen Carter should be the top priority for the. Oh, sorry. He's just answering Tom's question. John Malmus says, I'd agree, but won't be there at 10, so trade back.
We're going to trade up and get him.
There, he says trade back. Philly Sports Wise does say agree to the poll, but Brian Branch is 1B. Also, are you guys concerned with Carter's issue? So, like, yeah, I mean, it's a tough eval because we don't know. None of us really know the truth. It has to be like something that only the teams that do their homework and their investigation into the thing, like only they will know. Like there's no way us, the public, look on the outside looking in, are going to know anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And it's tough. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I was just going to conclude by saying, like, if the Eagles do take him at 10, I am comfortable enough with that because that tells me that they are comfortable. They did their homework. They are
100%,
comfortable
yep.
with what they know to take him there. So if they do take him, then I have no concerns. And
Mhm.
I know it sounds like it's like a homer type stance, but it's really not. It's just admitting that we don't know. The teams know. So you have to be confident in your organization and the team that they did their homework. And I think we all know and would say that the Eagles have a reputation of staying away from the bad character guys, or
Mhm.
making sure that anyone they bring in are people they have confidence in from a character standpoint. They're not like the Cowboys who don't like, I don't mean that as a diss. That's just fact. Like the Cowboys, they're more willing to take a risk on a character risk player than the Eagles are.
Yeah.
That type of organization.
Yeah, and my big thing with it is like as far as like character issues, like I get like he's made dumb decisions, and I'm not defending the guy because obviously the racing incident, it cost 2 people their lives, and it's a traumatic thing. But at the same time, and again, don't take this as me defending Jalen Carter, but again, we have to remember at the end of the day, these are kids we're talking about. These are kids that we're talking about getting NIL deals and getting millions and millions of dollars in college now. In college, they're getting this kind of crazy money. And the car that he was driving, I think Mr. Evans was telling us the night it happened, he said it was one of the top of the line vehicles that you can get in regards to.
Wow.
It was SR, was it a Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT or something like that?
It was something like that. It was a high end Jeep
crazy.
or something. But I think it's, and again, I have to preface, I'm not defending the guy for the mistakes that he made. But
He's
again,
19.
He's 22 years old. He's a young guy. We've all made dumb decisions, especially when we were in college.
Oh yeah.
And again, again, I have to preface this because in the world that we live in, people will take one little snippet and just run with it. I'm not defending what he did. I don't condone what he did. But again, there's a maturation process that goes on when you're in your early 20s, and some people still don't mature when they get older, and I understand that too. But again, he's a kid. He comes into the NFL. I'm sure he'll have like a couple of mishaps here and there. I don't think it'll be anything as egregious as obviously the racing situation that happened. But I think once he gets the money, and I'm sure a bunch of people have talked to him behind the scenes, including his agent, that he has to straighten up because it's not just about the rookie contract. It's about that next contract. And if you're good enough, you can get a third contract. So I think we're going to see a much different Jalen Carter once he gets into the NFL. Now, again, it depends on what team he goes to. If it's the Cowboys, just again, hypothetically, they're not going to get him. But if it's the Cowboys, a little worried. If it's here or one of the other major organizations in the NFL, then I think he'll be just fine, personally. But again, I'm not waving away the concerns, the character concerns, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's just something to keep in mind. He is also young. And hypothetically, if the Eagles were to take him at 10, and if he does fall to us at 10, which I don't think he's going to, like Chuck said, they did their homework. They have 2 guys that know him very well in Nakobe Dean and Jalen Carter. So it's the best source that you can get. Not when you have 1, it's great, but when you have 2, it's what more can you ask for? Yeah. So if they take him, I'm all for it.
All right, Pete. What say you to the poll question?
I mean, because listen, it's one of these things like talent is talent, right?
Right.
Maturity is not guaranteed. You know?
Okay.
That's and but outside of that, I probably still disagree to the poll because I don't want to be dead set or have one player in my crosshairs.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Like this poll question makes it, if he's a top draft target for the Eagles, that means, like PY said, do they trade up to 6? Do they do this? Do they give up assets? And to me, I'm not in that position yet. You know what I mean? I'm not there yet with him to where I think that as far as this football team is and the impact that he can make in year 1 is on the same level as other players that could be available at 10 or in a position to be able to move back.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it. This will really piss PY off. I can see a scenario, honest to God. I can see a scenario where he's on the board at 10 and Howie trades back.
I'll kill myself live on air.
And the reason why I say that is because Howie's always looking to get another first.
Yes.
In that situation, he gets another first.
I'll counter.
I'm not saying it's ideal, but there is a scenario where I can see Howie. It's not just as easy to run into the table with the pick for Jalen Carter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, theoretically, I hope it doesn't come to this because I think he's going at 6 to Detroit.
Okay.
I think Detroit is an organization, especially with Aaron Glenn there, with Dan Campbell there now, Aiden Hutchinson there now. They got some depth on the defensive lines, and you really can use it. And they kind of low-key were a bad team, but once again, this isn't Detroit's pick. They're kind of similar to us. This is a team that was on the verge of making the playoffs, and probably if they'd have made it, probably would have won that first-round game, that wild card game.
Oh, yeah, they would have.
Yep.
So
I don't think go corner.
So this is they could go corner too, but this
remember
is
they traded Akuda or whatever his name is away.
Yeah. They traded Jeff Okudah, but my thing is this: if you got Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon on the board, and Jalen Carter's on the board, I'm taking Jalen Carter every day of the week.
100%.
I mean, the corner is a corner. I'm not, you know what I mean. So I can see him coming off the board there. It's the whole speeding thing, the maturity issues. It wasn't so much the speeding thing with me. It's the lying to the cops, not being up front. That's really what I had an issue with. Just because at that point, cat's out the bag. Right. Just tell the truth, get it over and done with. The whole, I don't even really put too much stock on the whole fact that you came in 9 pounds overweight, you couldn't finish it, you couldn't finish your pro sessions. The tape is the tape. When the tape is on tape, he's right. You feel what I'm saying? It's just that I don't pigeonhole myself into one dude. You feel what I'm saying? Like, even when 2 weeks from now, when we're sitting here and we're probably getting close to the Eagles pick at 10 at this point, hopefully, we'll be sitting here like, you just got to see how it comes. You got to see how it plays out for you. You know what I mean? I don't think Howie's going into it like, listen, I need to get defensive tackle or bust.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if he's there, he's there. I do see they got 12 picks. I think it's more likely that we pick at 10 and then we trade back up from 30 because we got the 12 picks next year versus us trading back. If we trade back, then shit in the top 10 didn't go our way.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we trade back for 10, shit in the top 10 didn't go our way. But I disagree to the poll from the standpoint of, on the defensive side, just across the board, there's a lot of different areas of this team with the players that are going to be there potentially. I just think it's 33 in the third. It's 1/3 of how you can go with number 10.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's just me.
Okay.
So I'll counter your trade up argument with or trade back with the last 2 drafts. They've traded up for players they really liked in this draft. Devontae Smith, Jordan Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has a history. Howie has a. He has
when it's his guys. He'll go get them.
He in his draft history, he's traded up more than he's traded back. Yeah. Now, just because he's done that doesn't mean that it's guaranteed he'll trade up. I think it just shows that, like you just said, PY. If he has a guy he likes, he's not going to hesitate to trade up and get him.
No, and it's also
Carson Wentz, Devontae Smith, Jordan Davis, Andre Dillard. Like, if you're his
Dillard was because he knew Houston was drafting Dillard,
right?
And he don't sugarcoat the shit. That was a fucking miss. Excuse me.
It was a miss, but here's the thing: it doesn't always work out. But that's his MO. If he likes you, you're going to be an Eagle.
Yeah.
And he's going to do everything he humanly can to make
I would say this out of Carson, Devontae, and Jordan Davis that you just mentioned, Jalen Carter ultimately, when it's all said and done, career may be that. Mm-hmm. Jordan Davis is an athletic freak.
Yeah.
That's different. Carson Wentz, quarterback, different. Devontae Smith, Heisman winner. And you had nothing. Your wide receiver cupboard was bare.
Yeah. Yep.
Bare. You can't say the same about the defensive tackle position. I get what you're saying. If it's his guy, I don't see Howie and them having the same urge to get this guy like they did with those other three that you named. And then, like I said, Andre Dillard's just the asterisk because of the fact of that's how the board fell. And I don't know why. I don't know. Probably fucking to Titus Howard instead, and he would have been better off than what gave us more than what Andre Dillard ever gave us.
I'm going to just real quick. You guys hit a bunch of good points. I mean, Pete, like I didn't expect to understand your side as much as I did, but you kind of not like that. I'm saying like I initially came in, okay, it's absolutely agree, but then after you explained that, I'm like, oh, okay, I can get it. I understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like it's now I'm kind of, even though I still will agree to the poll, I where I was at like if I'm on a scale of 1 to 10, if I was an 8, as I was at an 8, now I'm at like a 6.5. So you know back toward that direction. So I totally get what you're saying. I think there is a definite possibility, despite Howie's draft history and draft tendencies, that, like we said, maybe they did their homework and they don't like what they found in terms of character. That's very possible too, and then that means that he's off their board at 10. Now, I know that there was a thing with with the agent, Drew Rosenhaus saying
he's not taking Vince inside the top 10.
Yeah, that there's no way that.
What else is he supposed to say?
So, well, yeah, right. Exactly. But take that with a grain of salt in a way, because that's his agent. So I don't know. He could be telling the truth, but he also could be fibbing. I don't know.
Well, there was
what's up?
I said there was an interview. He did do an interview on the Pat McAfee show.
I saw,
and he went off saying, like, if these people really think he's not going to take interviews outside the top 10, you're done. He's like, I just don't. He's like, what's the point? If you're at 30, I'm not going to have my guy fly all the way out there when you have no chance of getting him.
And he said, if you want him, come get him.
Yeah.
And this is, and Chucks, I know you heard this, right? I know you listened to this. So I think it's Tuesday's episode with Solak and Kapadia.
Yeah.
And they said at some point, right? And this is PY too, because this is probably the first time you hear me say this. And I'm not trying to drop bombs on you people. I'm not trying to kill your move. But
yes, he is.
If he's there at 10, what does that say about the other 9 teams that passed? Do you at that point not second guess yourself, like, what are we missing? What are we missing from the standpoint of everybody knows talent-wise, if all the other questions are off the table, everything is apples to apples, this dude's a fucking stud.
Yep.
But 9 teams have now had 10 to 15 minutes, I forget how long the clock is, to make a pick.
15 minutes.
15 minutes, right? So you figure essentially the draft really going to start at 3 because you don't know what Arizona going to do. Right. You don't know if they're going to stay there. If they stay there, you don't know what direction they're going to go. So it really starts at 3. So obviously the first 2 picks, quarterbacks. I mean, that's just book that shit, right? You don't know which quarterbacks yet, but just quarterbacks. So at 3, that means you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that another 6, 7 picks? 15 minutes each. And they don't take them. 15 times 7 is 105 minutes. It's almost 2 hours. What have these teams not seen for almost 2 hours to put Jalen Carter's name on the card and give it to the NFL brass to have Roger Goodell call his name? And then at the Eagles, you sitting there at 10 like, dude, what are we missing?
Right.
What are we missing?
I think from that standpoint, though, that's where you have to trust your process.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, from us, it's easy to say that because we don't know. But if you're an organization, your homework is done. What you need to know about the prospect is done. So if he falls to 10, I don't think for one instant Howie and company are going to be like, wait, maybe they're right. Because a good team is going to be like, okay, they missed out. We are going to capitalize on their misfortune. We're going to capitalize and say, like, your miss. So they're going to pounce on that pick if he's their guy. So it all just depends. Again, it's a lot of unknown that I can't answer. I just know from a tape perspective, Jalen Carter is the
he's
top
a
3
fucking
player in this
stud.
draft.
Yeah.
Top 3 player in this draft. So from a tape perspective, I absolutely think he should be the top target because I don't think there's any other player that will impact this defense as greatly as Carter will. You know what I mean? But that X factor is the off the field stuff. That is the ultimate X factor, and I just don't know.
Has any stories came out prior? Like any stories come out prior to this incident? Did any signs be shown that something like this?
I know that there was the one report by I forget what his name. We're not a big fan of that tried to say like there are character concerns with Jalen Carter.
Okay.
He didn't go dive into it, but I remember it was like a month before the whole report came out at the combine. And we shrugged our shoulders, rolled our eyes, and saying, "Oh, I think Jake said it in our chat." And we were all going, "Here we go again! Like here's draft season is starting. The rumors."
Right.
So, and I know that I started watching Brett Coleman's video. He just did his rankings, and he was saying that he doesn't know anything, but the people that he does know that might know something say that there are off the field character concerns, not red flags, not saying like it's a big deal, but there are questions that some coaches have based on what he is saying. So again, he's not saying a direct source. Like he's not saying himself as a direct source. He's saying he knows people that have said some things. So I don't know. And then Coach Marcus says he's never heard of any character issues with Carter before the accident. So
yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. But hey, if anyone or any of you are listening, if you have an opinion on Jalen Carter, definitely let us know. Should he still be the Eagles' top draft target or not? It's a very, very interesting question to ask. It's tough to ask. If there's anyone else you think you would prioritize over Jalen Carter, let us know in the chat. But we're going to move on over to the other defensive lineman, Jake, edge rushers. So how many did you do, Mr. Friel?
I did 5. I did top 5.
Top 5. Okay, good one. I'm gonna bring my notes up. Okay, so let's rattle off your rankings first, and then we'll go one by one afterwards.
All right, number 5, give me Mr. Keon White.
Wow, that's someone I don't have. You're gonna have to spell that for me.
Keion.
Eion White.
Keon White.
4.
Nolan Smith.
Wow. Okay. 3.
Miles Murphy.
Wow. Okay. 2.
Tyree Wilson.
Oh my God. And then
Will Anderson, obviously.
No Van Ness.
All right, that's what I was knowing. Like you were the one that brought up Van Ness before, and he's not in your top 5. Okay, so that's the first question I want to ask.
Okay.
So he's not in your top 5. I know you really like.
I have him number 6 if you want
you
to
have
put him there.
6.
Yeah, I have him number 6 if you want to put him there.
So why is he this low?
So the big thing for me, more than anything, he didn't necessarily start, quote unquote. He was more of a guy on passing downs, and it's not necessarily like a knock against him, but I just don't understand why not just be a starter. And the level of competition for me is a concern also. Now, again, he has all the talent in the world. The guy looks like Hercules with his freaking shirt off. So the guy's immensely talented. Can he be great? Yes, he has all the tools, but again, level of competition is a concern for me, and that's basically the big one. Level of competition. The talent's there, but I have to see it at the next level.
I agree with those concerns. If you were to say where would you be comfortable drafting him?
I see him go, and again, we see NFL mock drafts having him go in the top 10. That's not realistic. I think he goes realistically tail end of the first round, if not early second, but realistically he'll go top of the first round or end of the first round, excuse me.
Okay. I have a late first on him. I have a late first on him. I know people like him a lot more. And have him higher. I don't. I have a late first on late first, early second, similar to what you said.
Mhm.
All right. So Keon White. I
So-
don't. I'm not too familiar with him. So give us.
Yes. So with Keon White, he's one of my draft crushes, so I'm a little biased. I apologize. But out of Georgia Tech, so much untapped potential for this kid. He's a freak athlete. He's more of a, I'm trying to think of a good way to really describe him. He's more of a 5 technique defensive end, very versatile.
Okay.
I saw him line up at D tackle at times. Defensive end, he can go all around the defensive line. He's still very new to the position, but again, so much untapped potential. He has a 3-down skill set, very raw, but again, like I said, a lot of untapped potential. Now, when I talk about, and I get it, I'm looking at the comments, it's not what a lot of people expected, but when you look at potential for guys, because more than anything, that's what you're looking at in the draft as far as prospects go. Now, again, you have your blue chip players like Will Anderson's, your Jalen Carters, and all that. But when you look at what a guy can be, and if he develops properly, he can be one of the best defensive linemen in this draft.
Okay. So there's like a raw element or a project element kind of.
And that's what I've noticed kind of with a lot of these defensive linemen in this draft. A lot of guys have a lot of untapped potential to where they can be a really, really big-time contributor.
Okay. Got it. All right, so you're number 4.
Number 4, Nolan Smith. Now, me personally, I get it. People fell in love with him after he ran, like a 4.3 or something crazy at the combine. But don't get me wrong. He's fantastic. He's an athletic freak. I just don't love him as much. I understand he's very impactful on the run and pass, but I don't know. It's a personal thing for me. Nothing against him. I'm just not as high as him on him as other people are. However, I understand the Hassan Reddick comparison. It's very understandable. I mean, they're very similar, kind of a longer, more of like a lanky, thinner type of build for your typical defensive lineman. But, and Marcus says it, yeah, for every prospect. Keyword, if. Now, again, yeah. I think he's going to have a great career. And will he be a Pro Bowl caliber type guy? Maybe. We'll see. But you're not going to go wrong with Nolan Smith. More than anything, you're not going to go wrong with Nolan Smith. He'll be a day one contributor and a day one starter. So you're still going to get a very impactful player wherever he goes.
I like him a little bit more than you do.
Okay.
Where would you have him graded, or where would you draft him?
Now, if we were talking, and this is the good thing about the draft being a couple months out after the combine, right? Because then people have time to relax and calm down after people put up crazy numbers at the combine like he did. I can realistically see him like middle of the first round, maybe top 15 theoretically.
Okay. So you have him at 4. I think, okay, maybe I won't say I like him more than you, but you like your next person a lot more than I do. But for Nolan Smith, I do have him as a round grade. He's my 3rd ranked edge rusher.
Okay.
I do have him ahead of Myles Murphy. I don't know, Pete. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on Nolan Smith or at all. A little bit.
I have a hard time believing he can do what he did in college against elite to above average tackles. And I actually, Jake, I love that Myles Murphy. Put some respect on his name. He's a professional.
Yeah, 100%.
He's like the most balanced edge. Him and Will Anderson, balanced edge. You're not drafting on ceiling like Myles Murphy for whatever reason fell down draft boards. Now he's starting to come up.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Great time 2 weeks before the draft.
I said at the beginning of this process, any of the big 3, and you had a great draft. Will Anderson, Myles Murphy, Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I have Myles Murphy. I would have him as the same grade and range as I did Lucas Van Ness, Will McDonald, and BJ Ojulari. So like that, they all had late first round grades on me. or for me. So I'm a little bit lower on Murphy, but hey, like I will totally admit this, and it's similar to the issue that we can see that Chris Sims has, although I don't go as far and extreme as he does. When it comes to pass rushers, I tend to like explosive speed rushers more than power rushers. I think
Yeah.
I think with an edge rusher, you can get more out of them if they have that athleticism than a power rusher can. I prefer the more speed rushers than that. That's why I have Nolan Smith higher because I think he has
Okay.
streets.
Okay.
But again, I could be wrong, and that's me totally disclosing that
Right.
I have bias in terms of what I look for in an edge rusher compared to other people. But
Yeah.
so your number 3 is Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy.
Yeah.
Let us know. I know Pete already talked about it. And then PY said it too. How he before the whole draft process began, he'd be good with Murphy. What is your take on Murphy? Why do you have him in the title?
So he just has a very rare combination of like size, speed, power, everything you really want from a defensive lineman at 6'5", nearly 270 pounds. But he's just he made such a jump, and this was the big thing for me. Where he was last year to this year is such a huge jump. It's mind-boggling. The feel that he has for the game now and how he's able to process what he sees on the field compared to where he was last year, it's insane how much of a jump he's made as far as play recognition and just now again, he does have tightness in his hips at times, which again that'll I think you can work a guy out of that, but there are some things that he does need to be developed on. Now again, being devil's advocate, that you can do it with all these guys saying he needs to work on this, needs to work on that. But when you have a guy like Miles Murphy, and when you talk about prototype type guys, that's how I see Miles Murphy. The combination of size, speed, and he's intelligent too. And that matters, regardless of how people view defensive linemen. If you have an intelligent football player, that just adds another, what do you call it? Another, what's the word I'm looking for?
Layer?
Yeah, another layer to it. And that's a big thing for me. If you have a guy that's intelligent, and the big thing is too, he's a leader more than anything. You're getting a leader. You're getting a guy that has a high motor as far as like just motivating his guys, holding his guys accountable, and you don't have to worry about what obviously some teams are worrying about with Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
But overall, I just think he's a fantastic kid. He has a lot of potential, and again, I'm going to say potential a lot because that's what the draft is basically. Yeah, it's the draft. You're going to say potential with all these guys, but at the end of the day, I really, really, really love this kid. At the end of the day, I really love him.
All right, you're number 2, Tyree Wilson.
Tyree Wilson.
This is the complete opposite. This is ceiling, straight.
I just think when you talk about size, he's physically dominant. And again, you talk about versatility, which a lot of teams really, what do you call it? That's considered a big thing for a lot of teams. I know the Eagles value positional versatility. At a guy that's 6'6", 271 pounds, these guys are just freaks, plain and simple. These guys are freaks. And if he can, again, with me, as far as, and this is probably why some of my rankings aren't as popular, because I look at potential for a lot of these guys, what they can be, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously, the top guys are the top guys for a reason, right? But when you talk about a guy like Tyree Wilson, I think overall as a prospect, he's just a high level of physicality that just should allow him to make an immediate impact, especially in run defense more than anything. But yeah,
which is a forgotten element when it comes to defensive linemen. Like everything's always these days about rush the passer, right? But we forget, and what Pete was alluding to, the league is shifting toward a running game again, and you gotta defend the run. That's very important. So yeah, we overlook that element sometimes. But
and the good thing with him is too, like it's not just to where, like when you drafted Jordan Davis. Now I understand one's a defensive tackle, one's a defensive end. I understand, but when you're looking at a guy like Jordan Davis and other pass rushers, Jordan Davis was brought here more than anything to be a run stopper and a guy that plugs the hole. Tyree Wilson can do both. Tyree Wilson can help against the run and he can help against the pass, which I think matters a lot.
Yeah. All right, so their number one.
We didn't do linebackers because there's just no chance we're drafting linebackers.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just didn't have a fifth one to do linebackers.
If there was an option to get rid of the linebacker position, the Eagles would do it. They'd be like, "Yeah, we don't need that. Get it out of here."
Philly Sports with Bake does say I will never listen to Chris Sims in my life, and Marcus says Chris Sims always sounds like he has an active mind.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
And then
he was a loser he's like Acho. He's a loser in the NFL, so he wants to go out of his way to make everyone.
Let's not put those two in the same sentence.
They are. They're in the same category.
Chris Sims had success. Like
what success did he have in the NFL?
He had more than Emmanuel Acho.
I don't want to get
not much.
I don't want to get into this. I don't think either of those two should be hated as much as they are.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people have gripes against them, but I don't think they're nearly as bad as the population.
You go listen to Emmanuel Acho talk about.
You listen to what's his face.
That has nothing to do with it. Like
that has everything to do with it.
Talking about the Eagles, he's really smart.
You're going to bash Chris Sims, and you're going to say, "Oh, but I listen to Nick Wright." Like, all right.
Yeah, Nick is smart. He's just an idiot when it comes to
Wright, 5 years ago was ball headed, right? Now I got flowing locks.
Yeah, right. What is that?
I love it. I was just like, where'd that hair come from, man? You go listen to Emmanuel Acho talk about Olympic athletes and get back to me.
God. Emmanuel Acho, there are things that he does that are very respectable, though. What he's done as a media person. Like
he just won like a Pulitzer or something, like a Nobel.
Something like that.
He wrote a book or something. I know that.
I respect what he's been doing post football.
Could you imagine, this is just a real quick sidebar. Could you imagine Acho sitting PY down with the uncomfortable conversations with white people?
Yes, Emmanuel Acho would give me every free pass known to man.
He would give you
Are you serious? Like. He would give me the most softball questions ever. I would be the one asking him the hard questions.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God. Anyways, Ryan,
let's move it along.
How about Mel Kiper?
Mel Kiper, yeah.
Saying Jalen Carter would only fit on the Eagles because they can fix all his
yes.
I don't want a work in progress, bro.
Yeah,
at 10.
Yeah. Brian Wilson also says he agrees with the poll. If available, give him Carter.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, Pete. Mr. OG Corners. Let's do it.
I love how we're not even going to visit Will Anderson. I love it.
Oh, shoot. I totally forgot.
No, you're good. He doesn't need to be visited at all.
No,
he really doesn't kind of need to be talked about, but
he really doesn't.
Give us. We talked about Jalen Carter, who doesn't need to be
have Joe Giglio talk about.
Yeah, Will Anderson. No, but I do have a follow-up question for you. So give your thoughts on Will Anderson just real quick. Why he's number one? Why he should be number one?
I mean, he's just a stud. Since he stepped foot on Alabama, he's made a huge impact. Obviously, high level, like athletically dominant run defender. The sack production in college is ridiculous. And at the end of the day, he's a great guy. You don't have to worry about, again, like a Jalen Carter with all the field stuff or anything like that.
Yeah.
But my only, like, if you want to get like really technical, he's a position specific guy. So if you have him at defensive end, that's just what he is. But he also, and again, I'm nitpicking. He does need to develop as a pass rusher if he wants to be more effective, which again, that'll just happen.
Yeah.
Naturally, just because of how gifted he is. But if you want me to like nitpick, those are like the only real two things. Other than that, you're talking about a blue chip guy, 6'3", 253, athletic. He's just special. Everything you want. When you talk about a franchise type player, this is the kind of guy that you get.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Leader, absolutely, like you said. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. A guy that represents your franchise. You know, he'll do good in the community. He's if you don't have a quote unquote franchise quarterback, this guy can sell you tickets and be the face of your franchise.
Hard worker, like immense work ethic. Yep. So this is a question for all of you, because I know that if we're, again, nitpicking here, because he's one of the 3 blue chip players in this draft.
Mhm.
If we're nitpicking some areas of concern that he can get better at, you nailed them. And then I also think he can be tight hipped and linear. So like you talk about bend, right? We talk about running that arc as an edge rusher.
Right.
I don't think he's that type of pass rusher right now. You know, I don't think he has that thing where you're going to see him at the arc, and when he reaches that bend, he's going to be able to get and turn his hips, flip his hips 90 degrees to get around that. Can he develop that? I think he can, and that's why that's one of the reasons why I like him so much. But he hasn't shown that. That's not what he's shown on tape right now. So
Right.
if you're talking about areas of questionable areas, I think that's where it is. Now, do you think his limitations as that edge rusher, like I said, I believe he can develop them. Do you guys think he can develop that?
Yeah, 100%. Just because, again, you talk about the high character guy that he is. He's not afraid of hard work. He's done it all the way up until this point, and he's represented Alabama wonderfully. If you talk to Nick Saban, he can't stop talking about him. He loves him that much. But
The anti-Mac Wilson.
yeah, if you, again, when you have a guy like him who's a high character guy who has a track record of just working his tail off and being driven to be the best that he can be, you're talking about Will Anderson.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good job, guys. You guys did a great job with defensive linemen.
Thanks,
Let's get
Dad.
into the secondary. Mr. OGP, you are up. We're going to start us off with the corners.
This should be fun.
I have a lot. This is going to be fun. Because I have
This is actually one of my more interesting because you can go a bunch of different ways with this.
You can. You really can. And I did a rough rankings too for my corners, and I have some. My list is going to look different from consensus. I just going to say that.
Yeah, there was one that Brinkman came up with who I do really like.
Yeah, he says Emmanuel
Forbes.
Forbes is the best corner in the draft.
I don't think he's the best per se, but you talk about
he
guys who's
he is highly ranked.
He's
Forbes
very
is
very
solid.
good.
But CB1, no, he's not the best. But
All right, so
let's not go
do
Chris Sims here, okay? And try to go overboard, Mister.
There you go, Don. You got to draft him at 6.
Okay.
Probably.
But okay, Pete, how many did you do?
I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 10. We're not going to go into all 10.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So
we're going to start from the top. So I need you to take number 2.
Start with top.
Yeah, take number 2 out and just make that 1B.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, it's word, so I can't really. God.
So that's fine.
3. I'll fix it. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Now you're missing because now everyone else's rankings are going to be a little off. So I have to. I'll fix yours. Don't worry. But so you want to start at the top?
What do you guys prefer? I'll let you guys decide.
I'd rather go lowest to highest, but that's just me.
All right.
L1A1. Okay.
Yeah. Oh shoot, God. And then obviously 3. Okay. So who do you? Okay.
It was damn near almost a 1C, bitch. I'll tell you that right now.
I believe it.
Yo, right. if you have a similar take than what I'm gonna say, I swear to God, I'm gonna slap you. All right. So 10 then. Are we going in ascending order?
Yeah, we're going.
Okay.
So
who's your 10?
Yeah, we're going in ascending order. So we're gonna go 10. Cam Smith.
Ooh. Okay.
Already. 9.
9 is Clark Phillips. No, I'm sorry. 9 is DJ Turner.
Okay.
Turner. Okay. 8.
8 is Clark Phillips.
Okay.
Is he 1 L or 2 L's?
Give me a sec.
I'm gonna put 2 L's for now.
Clark Phillips the third. So if you want to put the 3 I's in there and get cute, be my guest.
Yeah, get cute. Number 7.
Keely Ringo.
Okay.
Wait, that's ELE.
Yeah, this one always throws me off too.
6.
Number 6 is Tyreek Stevenson.
He's Tyreek, right? Or Tyreek?
I know. I think it's RIQ.
Tyreek.
R-I-Q. Okay, Tyreek.
Tyriquue.
U-E. Okay.
Stevenson.
He's one I have not studied, so interesting. Okay, go ahead. 5.
Joey Porter Jr.
Wow.
At 4?
Wow.
No,
Okay.
at 5. No,
Okay.
at 5.
God.
Number 4.
Oh, I like it.
I like it. Number 4.
Emmanuel Forbes.
Okay.
Wow.
Not mad at it.
3.
Do I do it?
Do I dare to disturb the universe?
No, I'm not. Though. Deontay Banks.
Okay.
I knew what you were going to do.
Okay.
Go ahead, B. When I just
You just know. You know what it is. Doesn't matter which order you put them in.
And okay, so whoever you want to start with from the bottom or whatnot, like, go ahead.
I'll start. I'll start with DJ Turner.
Okay.
Obviously, top end speed, small stature size. I think his elite speed really hurts his change of direction. So if I'm an offensive coordinator and I'm lined up against DJ Turner, I'm running dig routes. I'm running cross routes. I'm running any routes with a change of direction because his top end speed is so quick.
Okay.
That his change of direction is just going to suffer. Keely Ringo, this bitch may have the tightest hips in the whole draft.
They're probably going to move him to safety, to be honest.
That's my thing. I have it here. I have it here. I think in 2-3 years from now, he's definitely going to be a safety.
Okay.
So how do you? Here's that's what I'm going to ask. So
I was wondering. Yeah.
I have the same take now. How do you value that? How do you evaluate that? Where do you take him, and how do you grade him?
I still have a first round. I still have a late first, early second round grade on him. Day 2 grade at the worst because he can transition, and we've seen now. I'm gonna throw a name out here. His ceiling could be this. His ceiling could be a Derwin James because he is a willing tackler.
Yes,
he likes to get his nose in there. So, but when it comes to that change, your hips is what your hips is. You know what I mean? Right. Some of these dudes have Devin Witherspoon. Hips is out of this world. They oily. Tyree Stevenson, hips oily. Gonzalez, hips oily. Yeah. You know what I mean? Forbes, same thing. It's kind of that thing. That's just the only knock against him. Now, I want to touch on Stevenson real quick because not a lot of people may not know who this guy is. All right.
Yeah, so definitely go into it.
Yeah. Out of Miami, good technique, press man darling, good coverage recognition, but not great. But you can flip a coin with any other. He has the same type of hips, similar speed to a Joey Porter Jr. But here's the thing. He just the big name, the big competition. He didn't see it. He's not going against a Marvin Harrison Jr. He's not going against a Jackson Smith and Jigba, like those guys. So this is not there. But I like his hips more than Keely Ringo. Hence why Keely Ringo is number 7. Stevens is number 6.
Okay.
So elephant in the room. How do I have Joey Porter number 5? The bitch is too grabby. He don't know how to play corner. He's just out there using his raw athletic God-given ability. Once you get to the league, it's a different story. It's a different story. Size out of this world. Was it? I think he's 6'2", 194, something like that. Size out of this world, but he plays very handsy. You know what I mean? So when you get to the league, and that's what we're doing. We're transcending this to the league and how they're going to play on Sundays, right? Sometimes Thursdays, sometimes Mondays. I'm sorry, guys. That's just the schedule it is, right?
Yeah.
So he was on here. He was close. He was close. Julius Brents was close. I think he's out of Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, out of Kansas State. I did do some tape on him too, but then he was on here. Then I started to look at some Clark Phillips, and then that kind of just messed it up for everybody. You know what I mean? But that's my take on Porter Jr.
Hold on. Wait. So Joey Porter Jr., I love that you said that. If I were to on my rankings, Joey Porter Jr. would be 6.
Yeah, see?
Because I think he is so scheme specific. And when you can only play one scheme, and that scheme is not a popular scheme in this league, your grade is going to go down. And when he can only play cover 3 bump, press bail. That is it. So if you
and he doesn't like to really get in there in the run game either. He's not a willing tackler.
No. So
at that size too, it's shocking.
Especially who his dad was.
Yeah. So I think that if you're a team that runs cover 3 press bail, the same like Seattle cover 3 that they ran, you're going to have Joey Porter Jr. as a first round grade. But if you're a team that runs not that system and you need your corner to do more than that, you are not going to be drafting Joey Porter Jr. high. I'm telling you right now, he's so scheme specific, and that's why I have him lower. I have him at 6. So, but we're in the same ball field, Pete. Like we see him the same way, and we have the same concern. So, absolutely. All right. So go ahead.
I can keep going. I can get into some Deonte Banks. Deonte Banks was almost ahead of Christian Gonzalez. I'll put it like that.
He's so good. He's so good.
God. He's so good.
He's so good.
What the hell,
bro? Listen. All right. So
if you don't know, you don't know. He's good.
Deonte Banks, oily hips, in and out of breaks, top end speed, can play man very well. Understands his zone coverages very well. They did both at Maryland. One knock with him is when the ball's in the air, he gets scared and he just can't locate it. So with his hands, he can't get grabby, but dude, sticky. When I mean sticky, there's one thing I learned in this whole exercise: route squeeze. When I talk about route squeeze, we're talking about when that wide receiver makes that first move and creates that separation. How quick can the DB get back and close that separation? How that route squeeze is. If you look at a Joey Porter Jr., if you look at a Keely Ringo, right? You look at a DJ Turner, they can recover. Don't get me wrong, but Deonte Banks, I bet you in your pocket. Devin Witherspoon in your pocket. Christian Gonzalez, somewhat in your pocket. Just his measurables is a little bit better than Deonte Banks. But if I was drafting a cornerback right now, and I needed him to play day one. This is changing. Like it would be Deonte Banks number 2 over Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon number 1.
Now, when you talk about his injury concerns, how worried are you about that? Because that's obviously a knock against him.
He did miss a lot of time in 2020. I think it was a shoulder injury, if I'm not mistaken.
It was something like that. Yeah, I think.
It's just one of those things because, like, if I see injuries of the same ilk or same lower half, same side, I get a little concerned. But with Deonte, with the shoulder injury and the way, like you talked about Miles Murphy, the way he bounced back, right? The way that improvement, like Deonte Banks took it the next step. So for me, I'm not too concerned. And literally, he's not scheming specific. The top 3 guys, if any of the top 3 guys are scheme specific that I have here, more so than not, it's Christian Gonzalez. Man-to-man, press man, darling, right? Zone coverage?
Yeah. His processing in zone isn't there yet.
Yes.
It's not there.
Exactly. It's just not there. So, I mean, hold on. Let me listen. Devin Witherspoon, 3-year starter at Illinois.
I love this guy. If he's our
so do I.
I would not complain.
Oh, I would be totally fine.
If we took him at all.
Listen, man.
He could play safety too if you really wanted him to.
He literally is. His comp for me is Jair Alexander.
And Don said the same thing.
I didn't even see that. I wasn't even looking.
I know, but that's a good comp because I see it too. I absolutely see it too. The undersized but twitchy, just like a fiery competitor. Like Jair Alexander was my CB1 back in that class.
Yep.
I had him over Ward, and look what Jair Alexander is like. A corner. I need to see him obviously to be able to cover man to man, but I love corners that are fiery, competitive to go with that. Like if you don't have the athleticism to do it, then you're not going to be that high. Like Jalen Mills was competitive, but he could not cover like nearly as much as well as you want him to. But man, Jair Alexander, sticky. Same thing with Devin Witherspoon. I'm with you. So go ahead.
I mean, his top end speed is a little questionable, but If he knows what a route is, and he knows, this is the other thing. As a cornerback, right? You got to know where your help is.
Mm-hmm.
He knows where his help is, and he uses that to his advantage when he
There
plays.
you go, Don.
You know what I mean? PY wants it this so we can get Jalen Carter, but it is what it
Yes,
is.
yes,
I'm
you're
scared.
100%
You make
factual.
me scared if we do draft Jalen Carter. Like, I feel like you're going to find this dude's house. You're going to try to listen, just so you got to worry about speeding. I'm going to take you everywhere you got to go. I work for the Russian mob. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, fine. I'll drive him wherever he wants to go. You let him know. We're gonna see W. Clark. We'll hook him up with a car. Well, let's get this done. Like,
yes. And the other thing too is like with Devin Witherspoon, he is a willing tackler. Like he is, and you gotta have that edge.
A willing tackler. That's
being generous.
I'm trying to be modest. I'm trying to be
generous.
But when you play for Lovey like that, right? And Lovey said, pound for pound, this may be the toughest dude on our team.
Mm-hmm.
When he's saying that about you, and it's just, and I forget there's another corner too, the corner opposite of Witherspoon. He ain't bad either. I mean, you already know there may be
that whole Illinois secondary.
There may be another Illinois secondary player coming up on this list pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm here to take any questions. Anybody you want to ask about? I know you had a superlative question for me, Chucks.
I did.
So I'm all ears. Critique or what?
You know how it went last year. How we missed out on our boy.
Oh.
If there was anyone in this class to be this year's Tariq Woolen, who would it be?
I thought I wrote that down. I didn't write that down.
Obviously, you're not going to have someone who's like the freak athlete and size of Tariq Woolen, but I mean that in the aspect of someone who's so raw but has that high ceiling that will likely be a day 3 pick. But if you can get him around, that area, you have someone who can absolutely be a starter for you and be a high-end starter for you, who has that type of potential in this class.
Mm-hmm. Give me a second. Because I had it. I was specifically looking for that.
So I think Marshawn Lynch, his answer to my question, I believe, is Forbes. I think that's what he's doing here.
So no, he said day 3.
So Forbes, I will say we think so much alike because my 1 to 4 is exactly what you have.
Okay.
Exactly what you have. I do have Christian Gonzalez at a distinguished 2 behind Devin Witherspoon, but it still is that order: Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Deontay Banks, Emmanuel Forbes. Those are my top 4. And then I had Keely Ringo at 5 because of the potential at a different position. And that's why I asked what I asked earlier is how do you grade that? Like how he's listed at corner, so I'm not going to rank him with safeties, but I think at safety he can be something. Mm-hmm. So that's why I asked how I grade him. So I had him at 5, and then obviously Jordan Porter Jr. at 6, and then 7 I had Darius Rush, and then I had Cam Smith at 8.
So to answer your question, I was actually thinking about Darius Rush as your Tariq Woolen, as your day 3.
There it is.
Is that it?
No. If you think so, I'm asking your opinion.
Oh, okay.
I like Darius Rush too. He's obviously my CB7, but like, I don't know if you studied him, if you think he has that type of upside.
He can. There was somebody else that actually is on my list that I'm just missing that note.
Don says it might be Julius Brents.
I think it was Julius Brents, but like I said, it's just I can't take the name Tariq Woolen. When it's brought up, it's a sore spot.
It's a sore
spot.
It's a sore spot, bro.
Sore spot.
If you had Tariq Woolen and Kadarius Toney ain't that fucking wide open in the goddamn Super Bowl. I know that.
Tariq Woolen would have made
Juju ain't out here making no Instagram reels, reenacting what James Bradbury did.
Tariq Woolen could have been like at the hashes when that pass was thrown and still would have caught up and made ground to make the tackle before he got into the end zone. That's Tariq Woolen. Oh,
I'm gonna give you one of the best comps of, honestly, Forbes is Darius Slay.
Okay.
And honestly, Devin Witherspoon. I mean, obviously Jair Alexander.
Yeah.
I don't have a comp for Keely Ringo. His comp to me is not as a corner. He can play corner.
Yes. Correct.
He could play corner, but what corner is the worst? Donna says, what corner is the worst tackle? DJ Turner. He's just too small. He's just fucking small. This is that. As then he could have the nose he want. He's small stature. I actually have somebody in here who one comparison. Stand by. I can't read my own fucking handwriting. Oh, this is the other one.
You do everything on the phone.
Emmanuel Forbes, right? So skinny. The more and more I talk about it, the more and more I like him. He's the Slim Reaper cornerback. Yeah. Everything you thought about Devontae Smith, and if he can get it done, you can say the same thing about Emmanuel Forbes.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I like my list. I'm looking at it now. Only source. It's just the one person we haven't really talked about is Christian Gonzalez, but it's you can see it, the size, the range. He can get to the spot. It's just that's all. He's the Tyree Wilson of corners. Mm-hmm. He's the Tyree Wilson of corners. You know what I mean? And the only thing with him too is he did it for 1 year. Yeah. Sauce Gardner was what, a 4-year starter?
Something like that.
And they showed you right now in the league. Sauce Gardner came in, won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was shutting shit down. Top 5 cornerback in the league as a rookie.
Yeah. Jake and PY.
He does.
Any feedback or questions or reactions to Pete's ranking?
I'm actually just like, it's not even a question. I'm just surprised that you actually ranked Deonte Banks that high. I'm not mad about it. I'm just very, very surprised.
Yeah, I'm with Jake. Like I have Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Porter, Forbes, and then Ringo.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with your list at all, actually. Really
Deonte is ready to play, man. Day one.
All right.
I'm really curious to see what Chuck's safety list is. I'm really curious.
Is there even enough spots?
I'm just wondering if he has my guy on there. That's all I'm curious about.
So, fam out there, if you still rocking with us, Don, Martian, did I miss anybody? Did any of us miss anybody? I think may not have been Martian. I know somebody else is asking about Adewari as an edge, but he's actually ranked as an interior defensive lineman. So it's not so much edge. But is there anybody up until this point that we may have missed?
Yeah. Definitely let us
know. And then we're going to get into Chuck's safeties rankings. And I mean, if he doesn't have who I think he has at number one, it's going
to. All right. So I think you guys will be very surprised actually for how I was surprised how my rankings played out. What I'm going to say is that this is not a great safety class.
No, it's not.
And I will also say that if I were to put and transition Keely Ringo as a safety, he would be my second ranked safety.
Okay.
That's how highly I think of him at that position. But he's a corner. He's a corner. I can't put him at safety, but he would be my safety too. And like it's definitively at safety too. That's why there is a drop off from number one all the way down. I am going to rank 6 guys. All right. So my number 6, Jair, I don't even know how you pronounce his name, but Jair Brown from Penn State. Number 5. Are you guys ready for it? Are you guys ready for it?
Yep.
Sidney Brown.
Ooh, okay.
Number 4.
Okay.
Wow.
Number 4 is going to be Christopher Smith.
Okay.
Number 3, Antonio Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Number 2, this guy I liked a lot more than I thought I would. And then obviously Mr. Brian Branch at number 1.
Antonio at 3?
Wow. Yeah. I don't need at 3. And I will gladly explain why. But let me start at the bottom first. Jair Brown, he has solid versatility. So you can move him around. Move around the secondary. You can put him at different spots, and he's gonna be solid wherever you put him at. He's a tone setter. He knows how to find the ball really well, both in the run game and the pass game. He has pretty good ball skills, and his pursuit is really good. He just has to play more in control. Like he takes bad angles, and he has to work on, again, tracking the ball when it's in the air, that kind of stuff. So he's a solid player. I definitely wanted to include in my rankings. Sidney Brown at 5. I still really like Sidney Brown. I don't want I don't want him being at 5 to misconstrue that. The reason why he ended up being lower is because of athletic limitations. I think he's a good athlete. I think that the other guys have athletic ability that is more intriguing. But I love how he's a physical guy. He's a good athlete, like I said. He's well built. He has the stature and the build. He plays physical. So if you line him up against a wide receiver, he may struggle. You line him up against a tight end, he's going to be really good against tight ends. He plays fast. He runs with high energy, high motor. And like I said, everything this has to do with his overall athletic ability. I think he's a little bit tight-hipped, and I think he doesn't have great speed, long speed. So his range is a little bit limited. But I also like his versatility. You can put him in the box, you can put him in the slot, you can put him deep, and he'll be able to play those well. And again, so with Sidney Brown, I think he'd be a really good scheme fit for the Eagles, and I still would pound the table for him in round 3. I still would be like, get Sidney Brown because he's going to be good in the system. Number 4, Christopher Smith is someone who would not be good in this system, but if you're looking for a deep post safety, he is the number 1 guy to play post safety. That's what he is. He's a small guy. He doesn't have great size, but man, he used to play corner. He's converted corner, so he's got that the athletic ability, the range to cover on the back end. He has good athletic traits. Great athlete, like I said, former corner. He just lack of play strength. So your typical put him back center field. He's going to make plays back there. But if you have to have him toward the line of scrimmage, play against the run, play in the box, he's not going to excel there. That's why I have him on number 4. But with safeties, I prioritize being able to play on the back end more than I prioritize run defense. That's just my preference. And that's kind of why I had to rank Christopher Smith slightly ahead of Sidney Brown. If I was looking more for a fit for the Eagles, Sidney Brown would be ranked higher than Christopher Smith.
Okay.
But I'm talking about in general. So for just in a vacuum, that's how we rank these teams. That's how it has to go. Any questions for my 4th to 6?
As highly as you have talked about Sidney Brown, and obviously both the Brown brothers, why at 5?
It's just athletic limitations.
Okay.
I think that I love his style of playing, his attitude. He plays fast, high motor, intense. He's well built. He's strong. So he's like his brother. They're both compactly built.
Yes.
So I love that about football players. I think that if you have that type of build, that's going to be ideal. Mm-hmm. But I think that Chase is, and maybe it's the nature of the position he plays. I don't know, but Chase has significantly more explosion for his position than Sidney Brown does. I don't think Sidney Brown has that high-end explosiveness or high-end speed, and I think his agility isn't as high. If I thought he had the same type of explosiveness as his brother did, he would probably be talking about right there with 2 or 3. So, but I love the way he plays. So the athletic limitations are going to hold him back. And that's why he's at 5.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So number 3, and this is I know I got pushed back from PY already. Number 3 is Antonio Johnson, and I know a lot of people he's unanimous safety too. And here's why he's unanimous safety too, because he's he's got great size, like intent, like immense length for the position. He plays in the box, and he's like a heat-seeking missile. I really like him in that.
You
However,
sound like you just described Jamal Adams.
there's the comp, right?
Pretty
There's
much.
the comp. Jamal Adams plays in the box. Now, if you guys know me, my safeties, they have to
That's
be
not what you like.
It's not what I like. All right. You have to be able to cover. And Antonio Johnson, if you are looking at Antonio Johnson and you are going to tell me, what can he do on the back end? What can he do in coverage? Everything you're going to say is about projection and guessing.
Mhm.
You're taking his physical traits and saying, we think he can do this, but we have never seen it. It's all projection.
Okay.
So I don't know how well he can do it. All he's ever done is play in the box, play well against the run, stuff like that. He's never been asked to do more than that. So I do not know how well he can transition to that. I have my concerns about his ability to do that too, because it's not like when I see him, it's not like I see a high-end athlete like Kyle Hamilton was last year. Kyle Hamilton had the explosiveness. He had the speed. Antonio Johnson, I don't really see that. I don't think he's a bad athlete, but I don't see that type of athletic ability. And he plays high. He's very upright, so he doesn't get low to the ground to make those transitions going from one direction to another. So I have questions and concerns about his certain limitations to play more than that role. Okay, Jamal Adams, they Jets, Seahawks, they didn't play him on the back end. He was literally just in the box the whole time. So that's why Antonio Johnson is at 3. Number 2, Paul Martin, the other safety at Illinois. I ended up liking him more than I thought I would.
Okay.
And I was surprised that I liked him more than Sidney Brown. The reason why, he's someone who was explosive. The explosiveness I was looking for in Sidney Brown, he's got it. And he's a physical slot defender, great athlete. So great overall athlete. And he's just someone who pops off the screen, and you love the way he plays. He has that similar intensity as Sidney Brown, but just in a better package. Now, what he has to work on, he has to tackle better. And he struggles to find the ball in the air, similar to kind of like Jair Brown. I think like he needs to be able to finish on both ends. But he's my safety too, because I love the athletic ability. I love the range. I think he can play multiple spots. He can play in the slot. He can play on the back end on a cover 2 split safety role. You can cover against tight ends and against wide receivers. So I really like what he can bring. I'm higher on him than most are apparently, but I think that his skills translate. Any questions or comments regarding Antonio Johnson or Quan Martin?
No.
Well, PY, you were laughing at how low I had Antonio Johnson. I'm surprised you're not saying anything. I'm giving you the opportunity.
You're educating me. That's what matters. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you, but that's fine.
133 and 50-second mark. We need to make that a clip. We will never.
Honestly, bro, like I think the way we probably all had a problem with list of each position, and then as you talk through it, you provide context. It's like one of those things. Okay.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Don said, did I watch JL Skinner from Boise State? I did. JL Skinner is actually at 7. If I were to, I have a tough time. I'm not going to say 7. I have a tough time right now between him, Jordan Battle, and Jamie Robinson. Right now they're all lumped together, and I don't know enough about them in order to separate one of them from the other. but I like all three of them as the next kind of tier. So, yeah, there's that. So, safety one, Brian Branch. That's very, very obvious. Um, why is he? Why do I like him still? Why do I like him so much? Because he's an elite slot defender. Like you put him in the slot in coverage and run support, he is going to be there. So smart, ultra smarts. Like, very savvy in what he does. He knows how to play the position. People have concerns about his ability to play back end. I don't. I think I've seen he didn't play it a lot, but the reps that I personally saw, I thought he was fine. So unlike with Antonio Johnson, where we rarely got to see him do that role and do it effectively, Brian Branch, I've seen enough of him doing it effectively in spurts where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's fine on the back end. You can play him deep, and he's good. So Brian Branch, to me, he's about like a top 10, top 15 player in this draft. And I think he would be phenomenal difference maker, the next Malcolm Jenkins for the Eagles if we were to somehow get him. I don't know where. Probably with the safety position being devalued, there's a chance you can get him at 30. I don't know, but if you were to tell me, okay, like we're gonna trade back from 10 and get him at 15ish, I would be perfectly fine with that. I don't care that he's a safety because to me he can do so much on the as a safety and at a very, very high level to where I would be fine taking him around 15. So
that's crazy, Don. That Illinois has some studs, bro.
I didn't realize how good.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they have all of the whole. That's what I said. The whole secondary, all four of them are draftable players.
Yeah.
Well, Kirby's in the league now, right? He came out last year.
He came out 1 or 2 years ago. I forget. It might have been last year, but because Don, didn't the Lions draft him? I think the Lions drafted him last year, and I remember we talked about.
Yeah, he plays for the Lions.
Yeah, Kirby Joseph. I think I talked about him as one of those safeties I did like. So, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, Illinois secondary, man, they were something special. Oh my God, yeah. So Dunham, yeah, last year, very good, very good. Anything else regarding Brian Branch or any of my safety rankings?
No. Nope.
Cool.
Does Branch's size concern you at all?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Does his being that he was a 3-year starter at Alabama, which is somewhat unheard of, do you think he's not really like a heat-seeking missile. Do you think that he has enough tread on his tires left?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think he has more than enough. I think I see the opposite way. You're a 3-year starter at Alabama, you're doing something right in that defense.
That is true. As long as it's not the running back position.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You're doing something because Nick Saban likes you and trusts you in this defense for a damn reason if you're a 3-year starter. So
do you think, and this is just an overarching question, because we did running backs last week, right? Which position do you think is devalued more? Running backs now and how it's looked at across the league, or safeties?
Running backs.
Running backs, yeah, no question.
Easily. You still have people out there that refuse to take a running or say they refuse to take a running back until round 6. Like, I don't get that. I don't understand that. Safeties, I think people are warming up to it, and I think people are fine overall with taking a safety on day 2. Mm-hmm. But you still have so many people that even on day 2 they won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They refuse to do it, and they think that you can easily. That's the key word. They think you can easily get one on day 3 when it's really not that easy. Like it's and I posted a clip from Greg Cosell. This isn't the first time he's mentioned it either. Greg Cosell talks about how the league is cyclical. We're going back to a time or a point where the run game is very important and you have to run the ball. And when coaches feel when you don't have talent at that position, it limits what you can do. But also, like, people talk about all the hits that teams have at running back as a late round or undrafted guy, like Pete, Isaiah Pacheco. They got him in what, 6th round? Something like that? 7th round. And he was their starter in the Super Bowl. So people talk about all the hits and all the times that you did draft the player, but they don't talk about all the other ones. For every one hit you have on the day 3 guy, you have 10 other misses at the running back position.
Yep.
Like it's not that easy. And even if
Checo was just a unicorn, you didn't know what you were going to get.
Right.
Because he was surrounded with no talent at the running.
Yeah.
So his production wasn't there. So you don't have a guy with production, and you don't have a guy who could develop properly behind a proper offensive line. It's going to impede his progress, and therefore he's going to be a low draft pick. But if you really studied him, and I'm glad that the Chiefs liked him enough to take him instead of letting him go undrafted. Like you have a guy who has the traits. He has high-end traits, and we've seen that. Like he's got a really bright future ahead of him. But like I said, like a lot of the hits that you have, even with the running back position on day 3, if you hit on a guy, most of the time their ceiling's not even that high still.
Yep.
Like you're not getting like a star or a stud at running back. On day 2 you can, because all the elite players from first round fall to round 2 and round 3. So that's where you can get stars. But if you wait for day 3, you're getting a solid guy. You're not getting a star. So I think absolutely it sucks, because safety and running back are my 2 favorite positions, and they're both devalued in this league. And I feel like all the time I have to defend them. And I'm not delusional to where I say like, oh, you should value them highly. I understand why they're devalued. I just think people go way too far in their devaluation of them. I think there's so many extremes out there where it's just like it's too much. Like you still have to have talent. You know what I mean? So especially in this league, like everyone's favorite Eagles Anonymous Twitter account, Honest NFL. He's been hammering the point home for months now, that in this scheme, safeties are so important. So important in this scheme. So you're going to have to prioritize getting one. And he's saying that he's predicting that the Eagles are going to get a safety, one of these higher ranked safeties in this draft. So I hope they do. We'll see. I don't know. Worst cover safety done on ass. Out of the guys that I have, I would probably say JL Skinner.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably say JL Skinner. Again, I have 9 guys studied, so I mean there could be more, but if you're talking about like the guys who are like have grades between round 1 and round 4, those are who I have, 9 guys, and I'd say JL Skinner is the worst cover thing. JL Skinner literally is just play in the box. That's all. Play in the box. Brendan Tulane asks, man, wonder how these upcoming linebacker rankings going to be. Also saw a lot of mocks having Branch go to the Pats. That'll be a typical Belichick move. Yeah. He
Oh,
would.
yeah. 100%.
That screams Belichick.
Yeah, it does.
Because, he's close friends with Nick Saban, the stuff he does with his secondary. And it sucks we don't have Nate on here because, again, this is an example for Belichick of a guy who prioritizes the secondary over the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but I can absolutely see that. Donan says Pacheco runs like he's being chased by a pit bull in the hood.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all.
He's absolutely not wrong. Absolutely. Any closing thoughts on our defensive player rankings or our rankings overall that we've done?
Honestly, not much, but overall, no, this was fun. I actually had a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah, and it was nothing like super.
Yeah, you didn't have to go crazy in depth with it either. Like you didn't have to go all in. Now, obviously, Chucks, we know you went all in with running backs because that's your position. But overall, I think
Pete has more than Chucks.
Yeah, but it got you really to like look in and see a bunch of different guys too that I probably wouldn't have looked at.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think this was actually a lot of fun. It got the fam really involved as well. So
yeah, I liked how we did the defensive part because like it takes, requires each of us to dive into certain
And
positions.
again, the only reason, guys, we didn't do linebackers is because, well, Eagles don't believe in the position should exist.
Yeah. And we don't have a fifth person.
That too.
Yeah. So we're going to prioritize secondary and defensive line.
Yeah.
Over that. I think for our first year doing these positional rankings, overall, I think we did a great job.
Yeah.
I think it went smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you, the fam listening in, you tell us how we did. You got to tell us if you want to keep seeing us doing stuff like this every year. If you want to see us expand on our draft content, remember what we always say: we are the one stop or the best stop for you at AGD Radio for draft coverage. So we want to be able to provide as much as we can for you, even if it means getting you guys more involved, hearing you guys' thoughts and comments and reactions to what we say, because you drive us, you drive our conversation as well. So we appreciate everything that you guys have tuned in for. Donan says this was a good list. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, I enjoyed this so much. I will also say that my wide receiver rankings have already changed since slightly, not much, not at the top, but like they have changed ever since we did ours. So that's kind of like the sucky part about doing those kind of rankings earlier on is, you study guys more, your grades change. So
to Brendan's question, just to give our top three real quick.
I haven't looked at linebacker. I cannot answer that question.
I'll just give my top three real quick. Trenton Simpson. Not Trenton Simpson. I'm sorry.
Drew Sanders.
Yeah, Drew Sanders. I'm a little higher on what's his name than a lot of people are. Tutu.
Henry Tutu.
Yeah, Henry Tuo. Yeah, Drew and then Trenton Simpson. I have three.
I would throw probably Deion Henley in there somewhere.
Yeah, but if you look in the later rounds, that's kind of where I think the value is at linebacker this year. They're still good players, obviously, but I think in the later rounds, especially, I personally, not because he's a former Eagle, or his brother's a former Eagle, but
Herbig?
Herbig's brother is, yeah, if he goes in the right defensive scheme, I think he can be really, really good.
Yep. Dodon asks, do y'all think Ed Oliver gets traded during the draft? I think it's
Why would
possible.
he get traded?
I think
it's I won't say he's a bust. He's just not what they thought he was.
Yeah.
He's not getting the pass rush production that they thought they would get.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was number 9 overall,
Something like that.
I was really high on him too. So
yeah. And he only had 2.5 sacks last year when his career high was his rookie year with 5. But I mean maybe
that's with Von Miller too. So
yeah, I mean maybe a change of scenery is what this guy needs, and sometimes that's usually the best thing for some of these guys.
Yeah, could be. I can absolutely see him getting traded. I wouldn't be surprised.
But as far as
the likelihood of it happening, I don't know because I'm not that plugged in with Bills, with the Bills scene. But I can see it. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if it does.
But what I will say though, I'll throw a little tidbit out there, and I know he'll end up being signed after the draft. Yannick Ngakwe is still out there. Just saying, 10.5 sacks last year. I'm just saying.
How he brings that in, I swear to God.
He's still out there, and I don't understand it because he had a great year last year.
Going to get signed after the draft.
I said, come on. I mean, Howie was just named the number 1 general manager in football.
Yeah. I mean, he's only 28 years old. He had 10.5 sacks or 9.
Can you imagine that? Yannick, Sweat. Like,
is Derek Barnett still on the team?
Yeah, but I think we'll
I think they're going to trade him.
For what?
Trade him. They're not going to.
I think you could possibly get like a 7th round pick or something.
You're not going to get anything for
like
him.
A cheesesteak.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything for him. But
get a conditional 7th.
Yeah, I mean, not 9. Yeah, almost 20 sacks in his last 2 years. I mean, and the fact that he's still not signed is insane to me. That's insane to me.
Yeah, we can trade Barnett and Quez together.
Okay, we'll give you we'll probably get an early 7th for both of them.
Sure, fine. I'll take it right
Yeah.
now. Get
know.
Quez Watkins. Excuse my
know.
French. Quez Watkins the fuck off my team.
Just give me a butterscotch crimpet and I'll be good.
Yeah, we'll be good. Give me some fries and I'll be okay.
I'm so sick of him. He's a
All right, guys, let's get into the second half real quick. And but before we do,
half, bro, it's like 2 hours.
I know. Second half. Let us know who
rush into that.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change in career brokerage, contact Alan Foy of eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com.
All right, guys. So everyone, I don't need to reiterate who my guy is in this draft. My two guys. We all know. We all know it's Bijan Robinson and it's Chase Brown. Those are my two guys. So that's it for me. So it's your floor now. You let the fam know who are your guys in this draft class.
Is there like a limit?
No, I don't care. Like it's up to you. Who are your favorite prospects?
Deontay Banks.
Yeah.
I forgot his name already. The Stanford wide receiver who I like more than else. I think I want to say Michael Thompson. Was that his name?
Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson.
He's one of the ones that got up my rankings. By the way, him and Tyler Scott.
See, you like how I do that, huh? I'm trying to think. Hold on. What else? There's a running back.
Jamar Gibbs.
You like Rashawn Johnson?
Yeah, that's kind of my guy. Did you know? Funny story. Did you know he never played running back until he got to Texas?
That's funny.
Really?
He was converted quarterback.
That's
he was a dual threat quarterback, and then they had no running back at Texas, and then he transitioned to running back.
Yep,
that's some Mike Evans shit right there.
And he's been playing it well. Like what the hell? Like you know what I mean? Like,
like what if he was doing this the whole time?
Crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
That's my three.
Right.
You know yours is Jalen Carter.
No, I like other people. I mean, I like Jalen Carter. I like Miles.
You're cheating on Jalen Carter?
I am allowed to see other prospects, sir.
That's rude.
I am a millennial man. I don't have to be just one. Unless he's with the ladies, then I'm just one.
God.
All right, go ahead. You said Miles Murphy.
Yeah, obviously like Miles Murphy. You know, I like Brian Brees. He's solid. Brian Branch is Brian Branch is good. Chucks has sold me on Branch. Like
I love Branch.
I'm at the point where yes, I'm cool with him at 10. I've changed my mind.
Okay.
You know, obviously I love Jalen Carter and Will Anderson. Those guys are studs. And then like obviously in Witherspoon and Gonzalez, those guys are great. Mm-hmm. Like and on offense it's pretty limited. It's like I like Bijan, I like Henderson, I like JSN. Jamar Gibbs, I'm like a roller coaster. Some days
your guys are just all the top prospects at each position.
Yes, like I'm okay. I like the shiny toys. I'm sorry. I'm someone with ADHD who cannot focus for more than 5 seconds. I like the bright shiny things.
We know.
So CJ Stroud's not your guy?
No. Yes, exactly.
Oh my God.
I only like winners.
Jake, your guys.
Bijan, no particular order. Bijan, obviously. Devin Witherspoon, of course. And my last one, believe it or not, in the later rounds, Jay Ward, safety.
Oh,
Jay Ward. Now again, he's an LSU guy. I'm not trying to be biased, but he can. No, but I'm saying that my only reason, and he's being overlooked, which is fine. He can play nearly every position in the secondary. He's that versatile. He's a versatile guy. So if you're talking about good value in the probably last 2 to 3 rounds of the draft, I'd just scoop him up.
Yeah.
I had a fourth guy too. I forgot about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta, you were really high on him. Yep, Sam Laporta. I'm now keeping an eye on him now, like, because I didn't rank him that high, but I want to like monitor how he, where he goes, because I'm like, I'm curious. I'm curious.
Mhm.
It's crazy for me. Like you usually would have, a personal favorite wide receiver. This class, I just don't like.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
tough. This class.
It's JSN and everybody else.
Right.
For me, I also like Zay Flowers like a lot, but I mean, I wouldn't say he's my guy. I'm not like pounding the table for him all the time, so I don't think he falls into that category. But like, it's for me, it's those two, and then everyone else, and like, there's so many undersized wide receivers. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of big ones. Cedric Tillman is the only prototypical X wide receiver in this class, and no, I'm not talking about Quentin Johnson either, because Quentin Johnson has the body of an X receiver, but has the game of a Z receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't play like an X.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one in this wide receiver class that I'd say I'd pound the table for. There are a bunch that I like. Michael Wilson, if Michael Wilson can ever stay healthy for a damn season, he's going to be really, really good. But yeah, I don't know. That's it. Anything else draft related before we go no huddle in this biatch?
No.
All right, no huddle. Let's close this up. What do you guys got on the docket? Random topics. I don't know who has watched Mando.
I'm halfway through, so you can't talk about it. But the half I saw, my man Giancarlo Esposito on his shit again.
Oh, he's so good.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to. God, there was something I wanted to talk about. Now I can't remember it.
Welcome to the other side of 35, sir.
I know. Oh, I think it's this, but if it's not, then I'll think of the other thing. But they announced that they're doing a Harry Potter reboot.
Yeah.
It's going to be a series.
I hope it fails.
So
yeah, I don't know how they're gonna
a new cast.
Yes,
new cast.
I don't want that transphobic
recast
to get any money.
So here's my thoughts on it, right? I because I haven't read all the books yet, but I've read up until what's the one after Order of the Phoenix? I forget which one, but I've read up to there, right?
Okay.
So I'm more than halfway done, and my experience reading those after watching the movies is that holy crap, the movies left out so much.
Yeah, they did.
They left a bunch out. Yeah, they did.
And that's the thing that for me, when I was watching the movies for the first time, I felt like there was stuff that was missing. I felt like I didn't know enough.
It's like 800-page books, man. What do you expect?
I'm not saying that the movies sucked. I'm saying like because there were movies and there's so much in the books, they had to leave stuff out, right? Yeah,
I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it now.
J.K. Rowling should just cast herself as Voldemort.
Oh my God. So they left a lot out. So now if you take Harry Potter's book series and you make it into a show where now you can extend it over multiple seasons.
Right.
Now you can go deeper into it and not leave out certain details. Color me intrigued. Like I'm intrigued about how they can cover things and aspects, elements from the books that weren't covered in the movies.
Yeah.
So I'm interested.
Names.
I'm very interested to see how that plays out. On the other hand, there are. Are you laughing at that comment?
Yes.
You just saw it.
Yeah, I was looking, bro.
I was looking at something else real quick.
That's why I pulled it up. I pulled it up for Pete.
So like the series already has insurmountable expectations.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to cast these characters and not have them constantly compared to
Right.
the movie cast?
Yeah.
Did they say it was a direct recast of like? Are they recasting Harry Potter or like
everyone's recast it?
Everyone
Yeah.
is recasting.
You'll probably get like cameos, I would think, of like original cast members.
I want to bet money on that.
Is there enough? I didn't read the books. Is there enough
I'll tell you 3 that will never are not coming back. Daniel,
Okay.
Rupert, and Emma.
Really? Okay.
Well, because remember, Daniel Radcliffe just did a huge thing on trans rights and how he values them and everything.
The fact
they did an interview where they're interviewing the person at HBO Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going through everything, and they're like, it's like a press release thing, and they're like, so like, because she's supposed to be an executive producer,
yes,
like she's very involved.
Yeah.
And they're like, so you don't think it's a little controversial based on everything she's been saying? You know, it's been very hurtful to people, the trans community, and others in other places. They're like, don't you think it's going to send mixed messages? It's going to be very difficult. And they're like, well, we don't really feel like that has anything to do with anything. And I'm just like, this is gonna
listen.
Well,
listen. Here's the thing that people don't understand, and I understand where people are coming from with the whole rights thing and to each their own, whatever. It's going to make money.
Yeah.
And if it's going to make money, people are going to do it. And producers are going to do it.
It's all about money. I have
that's all I'm saying.
And here's the thing with J.K. Rowling. Like, from what I've read, and this is I don't know exact details, but based on what I've read, yes, she's an executive producer, but that could mean a lot of things in terms of her involvement. Like, they could go to her to make sure that like, okay, like, are we being consistent? And then she could be like, yes, and that could be the extent of it. Like, she could have. It's very possible she has no creative control over what is put into the series.
Ooh, I wouldn't go that far.
So, I'm saying it's possible. I'm not saying it's definite. I'm saying it's possible because I don't think the executives at HBO Max are completely dumb and blind to what's the controversy that she has. So I think her involvement has to do that they want to stay true to the characters and the lore and make sure they get it right. Therefore, they have to involve the person that wrote the damn story.
Right.
But I don't think she's deciding like, hey, you have to do this. Hey, you have to do this. I don't think she's going to be that heavily involved. Now, I could be wrong, but again, when it comes to movies and TV, executive producer can mean a lot of things. Yeah. It could mean little involvement. It could mean a lot of involvement. So we'll see how much. We'll see for sure how involved she's going to be. She's in the project, so on that aspect, I do agree with PY that because she's part of the project, those 3 actors are not going to be involved. They're not going to make an appearance. I do agree with him on that. I think that also we can't say for sure that she's going to be have a heavy influence into everything. I don't think that's a guarantee right now.
All right. So Don brought up my second topic or my no huddle topic. Oh my god.
Wow, it looked great.
You're insane. What?
What? It looked amazing.
You're insane.
It looked amazing, potentially. I have no idea what's going on.
It's going to flop so bad. I can tell.
Really? I'll bet you it makes $1 billion right now.
Not going to make $1 billion. Stop.
Really? Because they said the same thing about the last Captain Marvel movie. She needs to smile more. This is going to bomb. Feminist blah, blah, bullshit.
The original Captain Marvel wasn't good. The Captain Marvel movie.
$1 billion. They doesn't mean crap what it is.
Doesn't mean it was good.
Titanic is one of the best-selling movies of all time, and it's trash. It's trash.
Here's what. They don't give a crap. You know why? Because they like $3 billion.
Rose had room on that door. That's all I'm saying.
Well, MCU
finally came with that.
Any MCU movie is going to make money.
Right, because of the IP.
I don't think that every MCU movie, especially now, is going to be highly rated. There's two separate things.
Well, and Chuck said a thing in our nerd chat with me and Andy from in this very ring, Ritz, excuse me, and Butters. They haven't had a good MCU movie since Endgame.
They've had a couple,
No,
but
no,
like
I
nothing.
don't agree with
Okay,
that.
let me reiterate. Nothing
what
like
was it? Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi was really good.
Shang-Chi was yeah.
I like
Spider-Man was
Shang-Chi.
good.
I liked Eternals. I loved.
Did you like Eternals? I couldn't.
I did like Eternals.
Eh.
I love Spider-Man.
Spider-Man was good.
Well, yeah.
No Way
yeah.
Home was all right. No Way Home. But like
No
I
Way
said,
Home
I'm
was
more excited for across the Spider-Verse
Yes.
than more so
As you
Guardians
should.
of the Galaxy
Yeah.
3. I like.
Yeah, I'm all Guardians now. I don't really care about. I've never cared about them. So
Yeah, I'm wondering
Well,
how
you never
they're.
care about I thought the first Guardians was so much better than expected.
Yeah,
I thought it was
that's
great.
because James Gunn didn't write it.
Well, you don't like James Gunn?
Oh, I have an up and down relationship with him. Like I think he's very smart, but he does some dumb shit.
Y'all don't like
Y'all
James Gunn.
stupid.
What do we do? What do we do now?
Yeah, I don't know, but Pete, what did you think about Eternals?
Me or OGP?
Yeah, OGP. Yeah.
Fell asleep, bro.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't like it didn't keep my interest.
It's just
Now,
it was
once
a
I
different.
got through it, I understood its place. It came like I don't feel as if the movies themselves are bad. The way that they're releasing them in the order that they are
Yep.
is bad.
I think the issues with Eternals for a lot of people is that it kind of went against what the formula for Marvel movies were. Because for the longest time, people were complaining, oh, why won't they take risks? Why won't they do different things? And then when they do something different, they're like, well, that freaking sucked.
No,
And-
I don't think that's it. I think it's the fact that it's just a poor movie.
Eternals was like a family, a dysfunctional family. That's all it was.
Yes, it was. It was shameless in the Marvel movie, and I loved it.
It was
Yes.
yeah, but the thing is, I think the characters were written poorly. I think the dialogue was poor. I think considering the cast that you had, they didn't stand out. I think that ultimately the storyline and the plot wasn't overwhelming. I felt like there were elements that didn't make sense in the MCU universe. And that's saying a lot considering the MCU is banks
Retcons are for.
So I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that it's different. I think it has everything to do with the fact that it's a horrible movie.
I don't think it's a horrible movie.
I think it's a horrible movie. So.
Yeah, I just don't think it's.
There's
good.
like it wouldn't even crack my top 50 worst movies.
The best trailer that came out so far this year, Blue Beetle, bitch.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that. Like I'm not even
That's
the biggest Blue Beetle guy, and I think it's going to be good.
I think it looks really good.
I think they should have more lines about Batman being a fascist because internet nerds are losing their shit. So my favorite thing about that is that like you have like the losers over at Geek and Gamers or whatever getting all butthurt about it, when the whole purpose of the line is the person who's saying it is the crazy uncle who says like conspiracy theory shit saying it. Like that's the joke. Like everyone's crazy uncle who's not allowed to talk at Thanksgiving. That's who that guy is supposed to be.
I didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
It wasn't, but like nerds across the internet like raged and got mad and pitchforks.
Speaking of Batman, though, that new Penguin,
That was good.
I can't wait.
So I'm so excited. So we get Batman 2, we get Penguin, we get Arkham Asylum. There's still rumors that Gotham PD is in the works, and then there's all the other spinoffs that's being discussed.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this: 3 years from now, if Marvel don't watch their shit,
DC's gonna be right. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
I agree. Well, that's
100%.
also because they have an actual plan now, and not. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll try and see how it can fit.
I think that's just I think DC is now just doing what Pete and I talked about for a while. It's just forget about a freaking like universe. Just put out good content. Just put out good movies and good series, and that will get people back into your lane.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Marvel to be a good to be a good studio to put out good movies. Just put out good movies.
But that's what that's what their whole plan is. Like they're doing that route just in a different manner.
Yep.
Like the issue with DC and why people would stop giving a shit after the last few years is because you have no idea what's going on. Is this connected? Is this not connected? Is this Elseworlds? Is this not Elseworlds?
Right.
And now that you have certain projects like Batman, like the Batman, Elseworlds, okay, it's its own thing. The Joker, well, I'm not a big fan. Like it's its own thing, and you can enjoy it for being its own thing. Whereas stuff like Blue Beetle is kind of going to be the start of the universe, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Just
Marvel won't be back until they do another Spider-Man movie. They do X-Men, which they probably can never do.
That's not true.
The Deadpool movie may do it.
It might.
That's the key for them. Like
I think that's
Deadpool
really
and Wolverine, them together. That movie
so
goes is going to be the crossroads for the MCU right now. Like, what was it back at? Was it Comic-Con? Was it Comic-Con when they revealed all the phases for the future?
Yeah.
Who else looked at it and was like, I don't give a shit. Like,
like,
this is like, this is not like I don't have any interest in this.
Yeah.
And I know
Blade
that
and everything else.
I'm really excited for Blade. I'm really excited for Fantastic Four. Like Secret Wars is if they give me what I want in Secret Wars, I'm cool.
Flashpoint, I can't wait for.
So here's the thing. I think that so far, my theory has been proven right, and I know that PY argued with me months ago, but I think that the fact that the MCU doesn't have all their headliner big name characters anymore is hurting them.
Yeah.
It's hurting them. Like there's no Iron Man, there's no Captain America, there's no Black Widow.
There's Captain America.
Can you stop? Okay. They're not there.
Yeah.
So it's hard for fans to really give a crap about a lot of these characters.
Right.
Especially the character. Like, let's be honest, guys. MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a good chunk of them are just casual Marvel fans that go for the movie.
Right.
They're not like PY or a lot of the diehard Marvel comic fans that know about the source material, that know about these other characters that are really good. They don't. So when you take away Captain America, Steve Rogers, and you take away Iron Man, who were the headliners, you're going to have a huge void. And we are absolutely seeing that right now. That's why I think that how they do Deadpool 3 is going to be the crossroads. If they pull that off and do that right, that can be the spark plug for them to get back on track. But if they don't do that movie right, you're lost for. You could be lost. Like they could end up shitting the tank, and no one's gonna give a crap about Secret Wars or whatever wars they have. No one's gonna give a crap.
Oh.
I think, and again, this probably might be an unpopular opinion, at least from a financial standpoint on Marvel's end, but I think if, let's say hypothetically, another movie or two of theirs, like in succession, kind of tank, quote unquote, I think they should just take a break for a while.
Well, I think that's what they're kind of doing, is that I think the person who was in charge beforehand, he put too much stock in the TV shows, and then he wanted to rush everything out. I think that's playing a big part in the decrease, in a sense. Whereas Bob Iger, who was in charge when things were going well, kind of wants it to spread everything out. Like he wants it like 1 or 2 movies a year. Like because beforehand they were pumping out like 4 movies a year, and you're just like, it's fatigue. It's the same thing with the TV show. Like I think there should be 1 to 2 shows a year, maybe 3, depending on how you're doing it. Like Secret Invasion, they push back a little bit, which is a good idea. Like I think Secret Invasion could be a really fun story. Like it was just they were just doing it too much too soon. That's basically what they were doing.
Yeah, and my thing is too, because I just feel like, and again, this is just my opinion. I don't feel this way, but based on kind of how the newer movies have been reviewed and that whole thing, I think they're not sick of superhero movies per se, but I think it's just like you said, Pete. It's a lot. It was a lot to digest for a while, and I think if you not get rid of it, but if you kind of put it on hiatus for maybe like 6 months to a year or so and kind of build up that momentum and kind of get people to yearn for it again, I think that'll just help them.
Yeah, that's basically what the plan is right now. It's less. Like they're going to do less movies, less shows,
more quality.
Yeah, more quality. And
okay,
I think that, and I think the visual effects thing is it just really pisses people off because they're rushing everything, because they're not taking their time, because they're forcing everything out way quicker than they're supposed to, and everyone knows that's what they're doing.
Right.
It's not looking as good, and it's distracting to some people.
Not looking as good. You mean She-Hulk didn't look good?
I actually think she did look good. Like,
no, she could have looked a lot better.
She should have looked right.
Like, it's also a TV show. Like,
but you also think the TV shows have to push the product of Disney Plus.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to do something.
Yeah, and
like, I think as in terms of a TV show, I thought She-Hulk was really well done.
No, I actually, PY, like I watched it, and it was better than I expected. I
haven't finished Captain Marvel yet.
Yeah, I haven't.
I'm a big fan of her character, but I'm interested to see what happens with her.
Mm-hmm.
She-Hulk was better than I thought. It was fun, but I still can't say it's a great series.
The best.
It was one. It's probably one of their better shows.
The best MCU DC series, I dare may say, of all time, season 3 of Titans. Get at me if you want.
Okay.
I think 4 is better.
I still think Daredevil is top.
Daredevil's great.
Well, okay, we're talking about. I mean, it's kind of Netflix. I don't know, man. Titans season 3. This season, and then it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Titans season 3, bro.
It was great. My only issue is that they didn't do enough with Corey, and they did way too much with Red Hood.
Okay.
Oh, with Jason Todd.
When they were like, "Oh, hey," well, because a lot of it happened because of COVID and everything, and like you had to make these changes because Blackfire was supposed to be the big bad, and because of COVID and everything, it's just like this is the way they went. But like the choice to make what the hell, Dr. Crane is the big bad was dumb as hell.
Yeah.
And I've been rocking with Titans since the days when it was supposed to be on TV.
I gotta pick up season 2. I only finished season 1. I gotta start season 2.
Season 2 is solid.
Yeah, Don Wanda was good too. I like Wanda.
I mean, nothing's touching those Netflix.
Yeah, no.
Daredevil Netflix.
Daredevil is
season of Jessica Jones was good.
Daredevil still remains my favorite TV series I've ever seen.
It's very good.
I have nothing against the show. I just think their fans are annoying as shit.
Yeah, you just called me annoying.
No, I'm not even talking about you. No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm talking about fans who every time a show goes past a 3rd season, they're just like, "Oh my god, why is that show on the air? Daredevil."
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just like, it's okay. Like, it's all right. It's okay. Like others, it just doesn't always work that way.
I mean, yeah, I do wish Daredevil had another season, but like even the way they ended it, I think it's okay.
It's like Gotham fans complaining when you got 5 seasons and 100 episodes. Like, don't be greedy. Like, you got what you got. If you have a TV show and you get a good ending, you had a good run. Like, could you have had more? Sure. But how many great shows
go too long nowadays? They go way too long. I can't. Like, your bread and butter should be between 3 and 5 seasons. That's it. You go longer than that, you've lost me. I'm sorry.
If you get 100 episodes, you had a good run. If you get 200, it ends good. You had a great run.
I can't believe The Walking Dead is still going on. Like,
I know
that should have ended 15 years ago.
It should have ended, like 6 seasons.
Oh, I despise The Walking Dead.
My thing is like as far as like
getting John Winchester back on Supernatural.
Yeah, but like as far as like TV show goes, I think. Well, actually, I feel like Netflix kind of ruined it for everyone. And what I mean by that is they had the formula for a while, like, oh, a new season's coming out. As soon as the season came out, you had the whole season available.
I love that.
So do I. I can binge it. I love it.
I think the funniest thing is that they came out with a study, like, because Netflix now is just canceling. And they're like, oh, we have these really popular shows that people want to keep watching. Well, we're going to cancel it to do like some shitty comedy with like
That
The
no one
Rock
cares
and Gal
about,
Gadot.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wonder how we're not making any money. Oh wait, yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they still have
People.
they still have my Korean dramas, so I'm good.
Yeah, which makes people not want to invest and not want to subscribe because
Your shows are getting canceled. Yeah.
well,
That's
no, why am I
always
going to
hear.
invest myself in a show if I just know they're going to cancel it? There's
Exactly.
just no point.
100%. Like that's why it's hard for me to pick a show to get invested in because I'm afraid it's going to get canceled. It's always been my worry about shows. That's why I'm more of a movie person than I am a show person.
Yeah, so am I. One of my favorite, and I suggested this to Pete Evans a million times. So I don't know if he actually saw it or not, but Castlevania on Netflix, the anime.
Oh yeah,
solid.
So good,
All
so good. And the episodes don't feel long either. It's 4 seasons, I think.
Yeah, because they're like 20 minutes, and you're just like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, and it's like 40 episodes, but all together, it's so good.
When you mess with Dracula's family, bro, you made that bitch mad if you want to.
I wish Dracula had more airtime though, because he was only really in season 1, and that was it.
That was it. Yep.
Yeah. But,
only thing I miss about Gotham is Miranda Bachman. That's it.
Yes. Yes.
Yo, I can't believe she might not be in Deadpool 3. Like,
yeah.
She's coming back.
Is she coming back?
There hasn't been word. There hasn't been word that
Benjamin McKenzie ain't letting that happen, yo.
No. But the Don Don's thing, apparently it's good.
I saw it. It's pretty good.
Apparently and Jack Black's going to be apparently nominated for like a Grammy. He could possibly be nominated for a
fun
Grammy.
film, okay? It's all it needs to be. Like, it doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. It's a movie about freaking Mario.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. So, I mean, I'll watch it when it comes on.
Oh, Don, you haven't watched Lord of the Rings yet? What are you doing?
God.
What are you doing?
Anyways. All right. That was a fun show. That was a great show. We're done our series rankings, and the next week, to Don, who is probably the only one still listening to us right now. Next week we have our big Birds of a Feather mock draft. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're all 4 of us are going to be assigned certain teams to be in charge of drafting for, and then we're going to draft for them and even allow trades. It's going to be hectic, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interesting, something we haven't done on the show yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for
me and Jake's first day 1 with you guys.
Thank you all for listening, for supporting. Once again, our thanks to our show sponsor, Baz Joe's Bread. Make sure you mention A2D Radio, get 10% off your order. And for everyone else at the station, make sure you check out all the other shows on A2D Radio. And we got a really great show coming up in a couple of weeks. Make sure you stay tuned for that. We're growing, guys. We are growing, and we appreciate all the support that you give to us, and we really appreciate it. Also, next week we will have our mock draft show. Like I said, the week after, A2D will be doing a draft show like we have been doing past few years, and then the week after that, we have a special show for you. That is May 4th, aka Star Wars Day.
May the 4th.
We will be having a special May the 4th Star Wars Day episode.
There we'll go. We'll just watch Star Wars during the episode.
So we will have more details about that next week. But if you're a Star Wars fan, if you know Star Wars fans, make sure you check us out in 3 weeks as we have our Star Wars Day episode special. But until then, it's still draft time. We got our draft coming up in 2 weeks. So it's time to get those draft wheels going, guys.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. And until then, God bless, stay safe, and peace out.
Later, guys.